Hey everybody, Drew here from Pellet Cars, and I am in a very nice 2009 Honda Accord. This is the K24 4-cylinder, 2.4 liter of course, and this video is going to apply to a lot more than just the Accord. This should cover anything with a K24 in it. So I bought this car perfect. I mean, it literally is showroom ready. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Just perfect car, right? And paid good money for it. Well, it arrived, and when I started it, it died. It got a check engine light, immediately followed by the vehicle stability assist off and the yellow triangle of death, or I suppose it's yellow, so maybe it means doom, not death. The red one in Lexus and Toyota products certainly does. But anyways, so I pulled the code p1009, which is Honda specific for the VTC, variable valve timing control solenoid circuit. The generic code p0341, which also talks about variable valve timing, and then p0301, p0302, p0303, and p0304, which indicate all four cylinders were misfiring, and then p0300, which is multiple random misfires. So obviously terrifying. You know, it could have been a stretched timing chain. It could have been a number of just absolutely catastrophic failures. But what it ended up being was there's a screen where oil goes into the hydraulic system that controls valve timing on this car. So basically it uses oil pressure and then solenoids, which are electrically controlled things that slide in and out, and what they do is block or expose oil passages that allow the engine's oil pressure to actuate mechanical things, which in turn change valve timing. In this specific car, the sprocket, which, you know, think like a bicycle, right? The sprocket that the chain drives on the intake cam for the K24 and the camshaft itself, there's a degree of actuation there, meaning the sprocket can move maybe, I don't know, 10, 12 degrees, something like that. That is a guess. Don't take that to the bank, please. But anyways, a relatively small degree of actuation, meaning the sprocket can change its relative connection to the cam, therefore changing mechanical cam timing. So don't think timing, you know, going all the way back to the early 1900s, there was like a little thumb thing on the steering wheel, and that would change the timing of when the spark was applied to the spark plug relative to top dead center. So we're not talking about that. And obviously, you know, in the 40s, that became vacuum actuated. In the 70s, definitely 80s, it became all computer controlled, and now there's not even a distributor. Point is, that's ignition timing. So that's when the spark ignites and creates you know, the explosion that makes the engine move. So screw that up and you'll get different symptoms. But this is actually the valve timing. So this, you know, back in the day, this was set, and you know, it was set it and forget it. But now with the ability for oil pressure to allow that cog, or that sprocket, if you will, to rotate a little bit while not affecting the orientation of the cam, that allows the valve timing to change. So the compromise between power and efficiency is not so much a compromise, it is adjustable. So the screen that keeps junk out of the solenoid that makes that happen is known to clog on these cars. And the actuator itself, or the solenoid for the actuator itself, could also become buggered up. So what I want to show you guys is how to fix it. So first and foremost, you're going to use a 14 millimeter either serpentine tool or a couple wrenches to get the belt off the power steering pump. You are then going to remove the power steering pump with this bolt, and then another one just like it right there. There's a 10 millimeter bolt. I just got done fixing this, so I got to put it back together. But there's a 10 millimeter bolt here, and of course there's the two 10 millimeter bolts that would be there and there, and then this little rubber nubby that holds on the plastic cover. So obviously the plastic cover's off, that 10 millimeter bolt's off, the serpentine belt is off, and I like to zip tie it somewhere so it doesn't lose its path throughout all the serpentines. The steering pump comes off, but don't disconnect the hoses. You're gonna make a mess. Move this aside. This guy right here, the power steering reservoir, I removed mine already. I'm gonna put it back on when I have two hands, but that just easily, I got a screwdriver underneath this lip here and it just pops right off to get it out of the way. You are going to take off, if you see this gizmo here, that is the auto tensioner. There's a bolt dead in the center of it. Get that out. And then, I don't think you can see it, but it's shaped kind of like a pear going this way. There is a 12 millimeter nut on, I guess, an 8 millimeter stud, right? Take that off, and the tensioner comes off. And then right there, if you can see, I'm going to try to get my hand in there. It looks like I'm touching it. I'm not. That right there. I'm blocking it. I'm not blocking it. I'm blocking it. I'm not blocking it. That's a 10 millimeter nut. And then there's another one up here. Put something down there because oil's going to leak out, but that's the screen. So take that out and clean it or replace it. And then if you look, that 10 millimeter nut right there, it's weird. It's a nut. It's like the head of a bolt, but then there's a shaft, and then there's another head kind of thing, and it holds in this guy right here, which I took my 45-degree needle nose pliers, and I got on the body of the solenoid and gently twisted it as I pulled it out, and I ran a ton of carb cleaner solvent through that, cleaned it all up nice, and then I tested it with voltage from the battery just to make sure that it moves in and out freely and that it doesn't like get stuck or hang up or anything like that. I put it all back together and fired the car up, and the engine light, of course, was still on because that's a stored code, but the other lights were off. I deleted that engine code and just took the car on a 4 or 5 mile trip, and it drives like a brand new car. So all it was schmutz in the in the oil, which obviously the next thing I'm going to do is change the oil in this car. It was schmutz in the oil that buggered up the solenoid that allows the actuation of that sprocket, which sits right here and controls the intake cam. So with that clean, we now have a perfect car. What we've got here is what could have been an absolutely massive, expensive, or even catastrophic failure fixed with a can of brake cleaner and a little stick-to-itiveness. So hopefully this video is helpful. Obviously, I don't get to show you guys me wrenching on it and getting it all apart, but I showed you everything you need to know. Hopefully you could get through this, and if I could be of any help, just reach out in the comments. Thanks, and hey, do me a favor, please. If this video was at all helpful, please give it that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.